My
I
wound came
guess.
because I smashed my head into the side of a shelf.
Ow.
Yes.
I had a three.
I was
I
going
had
to
a
say
shelf.
door frame.
There's a shelf. I have a standard thing right behind me, right back over here. It's like it's a row of shelves that slide out, and I keep all my filament that's prints on it. And I was like walking towards one, going to work in one that was down by my thighs, and totally forgot. And I was looking down, so I didn't see the one that I had out that was at this level, and just full speed into the side of the rails and the. I didn't bleed, but
Trey, I am not as nearly as tall as you are, but I'm tall enough to have experienced this pain. Right? When I got to A&M Galveston, I was in the Corps Cadets, and we would spend time on the training ship tied up at the pier. You had to stand watch on the ship. And as an engineering cadet, I would spend time down in the engineering spaces. Now, engineering spaces on a ship are not designed for their luxurious access to things. Right?
Correct.
Pipes everywhere, bulkheads. Our shaft alley, you had to crouch down and kind of duck walk, right, to walk along the shaft back to the props. I clocked my skull on that stupid ship more times than I could count. And I'm not even that tall. I'm like barely over 6 feet. You would have been in misery trying to work in those spaces. It would have been just absolutely awful.
I visited the battleship Texas before, and I don't fit.
Ships and submarines are not made for people over like 5'8". After that, it becomes really painful.
Is that why I probably fit so easily?
I would say, so Ian, what I'm saying is you should have enlisted in the United States Navy because they would have loved you. You fit everywhere. All right, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's episode 23 of the On the Button podcast. My name is Wes. I'm here with my buddies Trey and Ian. Happy New Year, fellas. It's 2026. Woo!
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah. So, how did...
Ian is just like, this year has really sucked so far, so I don't have a lot of cool things to say about it.
No.
Yeah. I don't envy you, my friend, but this too shall pass, right? So
yeah, for sure.
But anyway,
explain.
Yeah, I mean, share as much. Share as much as. Go ahead.
Hold on, before Ian says anything, Wes, tell us about yours so that we start on a little bit of a high.
There we go.
Yeah,
and I'll say this to Ian: share as much or as little as you're comfortable with. Don't feel obligated.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I've learned in my years of doing online stuff is don't feel obligated to share everything about your life with people. Share how much you're comfortable with, and then stop.
It's just you and me, Wes. We're the only ones listening. So.
Fair enough. No, my New Year's really easy. We did a little bit of Christmas here with my folks, and then we got in the car, drove to Georgia, where my in-laws are. My brother and sister-in-law came down from Omaha, and we spent time in the mountains in North Georgia, outside Atlanta, with my in-laws, my wife's parents, and my two little nieces, who are 6 and 3. So
fun age.
They fun is a word you could choose, and there are times it was a tremendous amount of fun, and there are times there was a tremendous amount of screaming. So it kind of just depended on when you catch things. The fun part for me is that they think I'm a human jungle gym. Right. So because I'm the tallest member of the family.
Yep.
So literally my little 3-year-old niece constantly every morning I get up, you come in, you wake up, you come into the room kind of bleary eyed, and they're 3 and 6. They've been up since dawn. Right. So they're in there, and she immediately comes up to me like this, Uncle Wes, pick me up. And I'm like, I'm literally not awake enough for this. Like, I love you, sweetheart, but I'm not ready for this. But no, we had a lot of fun. It was a good week, and New Year's Eve was pretty relaxing. We didn't really do anything like exciting. We just kind of hung out. Everybody slept a little bit. And New Year's Day was kind of more of the same. We just kind of hung out and enjoyed each other's company. Oh, we played a lot of rummy that night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we ended up, I remember we sat down to play rummy thinking, well, we'll play as long as we can up to midnight, thinking no one's going to make it. And it was like a 3-hour game of rummy. So we did make it to midnight after all.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, Trey, what about you?
So my holidays are always insane. They start early, they last a long time, and they don't finish nearly when other people's finish. So you talk about having to drive to Georgia to visit parents, and that makes me. I have to drive an hour and 15 minutes to visit my parents, and I get indignant every time I have to do it because it's annoying. It's so far.
Sir, this is Texas, sir.
I know.
An hour and 15 minutes doesn't even get you across town.
Yeah, it's the other way. So my wife's parents live like 5 minutes from us. And so my parents live an hour and 15 minutes from us. And I kind of had the same thing growing up. And I was way closer with my grandparents that were 5 minutes away instead of the one that was an hour and 15 minutes away. And I told my parents when my kids were born, this is exactly what's going to happen unless you move. And they were like, no, we don't want to move. And then they didn't move. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm just irritated. It's 19 years later. And I'm still irritated, almost 20 years later. And I'm still irritated with my parents for not moving.
Sucks being right all the time, Trey.
Yeah, I know. So my Christmas my in-laws have always celebrated Christmas on Christmas Eve with my wife's. When they were with their family, they would travel for Christmas to visit family. And so they would do their family gathering the night before. So Christmas Eve, my Christmas is Christmas Eve. I go do it with the in-laws and their family. So it's all my kids, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my sister-in-law. Christmas Day we do another Christmas, which is me and my wife and my kids. And we have like the longest, I think I talked last time about how we make it a full day, take forever to open things, enjoy each other's company all day long thing.
Yeah.
And then the day after Christmas, we drive an hour and 15 minutes to go with my parents. And so it's like a 3-day thing. And it's fantastic. I'm a big family guy. I love family. I love being around family. So that's my Christmas. New Year's was fun. I have a friend her birthday is literally 4 days before mine. Like not just the day of the year, but like she was born January 5th, 1976, and I was born January 9th, 1976. And so we've had the same birthdays forever, but she turned 50 she celebrated it on New Year's. So our New Year's was a big 50th birthday blowout for her. And then, as I said a minute ago, my birthday was January 9th. So it's just close enough to the new year that I kind of roll in and like get the tail end of that. So my holidays start early and have 3 days of Christmas. And then I don't really end my holidays until like January 10th, because I like doing big things for my birthday. So I'm still not done with my holidays. It's my 50th birthday. So we're going on a barbecue tour.
Ooh.
So we're leaving Friday, and we're going if you're in Texas, you probably know this. If you're not, there's a magazine for Texas called the Texas. Shoot, I wouldn't know what it's called.
Texas Monthly, perhaps?
Texas Monthly, yes.
There you go.
I'm trying to think of the TV show, something similar. Anyway, they do every few years, they do a top 100 places in Texas to get barbecue. And it's a big deal to make that list. And I've never really been to the places, but you have to go at like 6 a.m. and get in line and wait until they open at noon. It's like a big deal to go to these places. Some of them, yeah. And so I told my wife over Christmas break, I couldn't think of what I want to do for my 50th. And so I was like, I want to go, finally decided it. I was like, I want to go on a barbecue tour. I want to visit some of these places. So
nice.
We have another friend who just loves to plan things. And so my wife just mentioned to her. And so now there's like 12 of us out of nowhere. We rented this house that holds like 16 people.
That's going to be fun, man.
In Austin. We're leaving Friday midday. We're driving to Austin. We're going to get barbecue Friday night, barbecue Saturday morning, barbecue Saturday night, and barbecue Sunday morning, all from different restaurants, all of like high quality, like top end barbecue, and just kind of hang out, watch football.
Yes.
You have just described the most Texas vacation I have ever heard of.
Yeah.
Will there be one rodeo visit during this time?
There are people listening to this podcast going, the guy's going to go spend the whole weekend eating barbecue. Why isn't he just going to shoot guns and call it a day too, right? Like, I mean, just saying.
Well, we're going to be in Austin, so we can't really shoot the guns.
Well, you can get outside of Austin. There's plenty of non crazy Austin space that'll let you shoot. It's no big deal. It's a big state. Yeah. Well, Ian, how was the rest?
So that's fine.
Okay. Ian, how was the rest of your Hanukkah Christmas time? I know it turned into something not so much fun, but until then, was it okay?
No, it's been a disaster. I was sick all Christmas Day. I had the flu that was going around. And then I gave it to my wife so that she was sick like a couple of days later. And then on New Year's Eve, unfortunately, my mother-in-law passed away.
Oh, God.
Which was pretty bad. Patty was really great. Loved her a lot. We lived with her for 8 years because she had Alzheimer's, so we helped take care of her.
Yeah.
And, my wife was her caregiver for 8 years, basically. Like, I don't think I ever knew Patty when she didn't have Alzheimer's, to be honest.
That's tough.
So
that's tough.
Yeah, it's It's a tough way to watch somebody die. It's really tough. She was one of the most chatty people I had ever met. Like by far, like not even close. She makes the two of you look like amateurs. Carolyn's Uncle John said it best: is that she could hold both sides of the same conversation.
That is a great line.
It is a great line.
It's a line
She
for
was
the
just
funeral.
really great. She really
Yes.
loved science fiction. She was a huge Star Trek fan.
My
huge
kind of
Star
lady.
Trek fan. We
There
used
you
to
go.
argue, or I used to try to sell her on Star Wars all the time. And Phantom Menace really didn't help me. She really thought that movie was dumb.
No, that's
and then,
not a good one.
She was still around mentally enough to totally bash on The Force Awakens by being like, that's the same movie. It's the same movie. Oh look, the Death Star's bigger. Like, and she's just
That's amazing.
She was really great. So we used to argue about that all the time, and I love her a lot, and I'm really sad she's gone. But no, she's in a better place now, and she was just Alzheimer's awareness, man. Pay attention to some of the signs, like forgetting things, forgetting people.
Yeah.
Going backwards in behaviors. Like that's one of the ones that we saw the most.
Yeah.
She went from so chatty to, towards the end, like nonverbal, but like, when she would have bad days, she would just hide and she wouldn't want to talk to us, which was really like the complete opposite.
Super unusual. Yeah.
Well, you get to be our age and your parents start to reach their age and it just starts going. I still have both my parents, thankfully, but it is definitely different for them now.
And she was 68, guys. She was real young.
That is
think about that. And I've known her
she's
had Alzheimer's. Yeah, she's had Alzheimer's for at least 12 years.
That is crazy.
So she was like in her mid to late 50s when this disease really started taking her. Like it's really sad, man. She had early onset Alzheimer's.
That is brutal.
It's bad when they get it when they're older, but when getting it young is just awful.
That's awful.
I remember she moved in with us in 2018, and Carolyn worked really hard. Man, the teacher's insurance, by the way, TRS insurance. I feel sorry for you retired teachers if you get sick. My wife went through hoops and hoops and hoops to find out what was actually wrong with her mom. And when we got that report, and it basically said that this woman who had a master's degree in teaching had the intelligence of like a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was really sad.
Yeah.
It was really sad.
Yeah.
It's a tough disease, man.
Well,
and thanks for joining us on this week.
I know, right?
We'll see you guys.
So
it's tough, man.
So 2026 not off to a great start for a third of the podcast, and I'm sorry to hear all that, Ian. That's okay. Look,
listeners, to bring it down.
life happens to everybody, and we can't it's part of it, man. That's just, we could do a whole episode like that if we wanted, but
like bring it slightly to SWU. Like
that's what I was about to.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna. Well, I was gonna say, like, you made these friends that's to share that to help share. I mean, that's what friends are for, is to share this burden.
Sure.
And you have us. Like, we've been talking to you about it for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
Or a week and a half or so. And I'm
still
thankful that we have these games and communities.
Yes.
I'm still in the anger part of the grieving stage, so I have a feeling that's going to come out in everything I say today. They suck!
Rage! Well, so Ian, let's stay with you for a minute, right? 2026 is here, right? So, new year 3 of SWU begins. We're about 8 to 10 weeks from set 7 dropping. We're kind of right around the halfway mark of this set as it wanders through the meta. What are your thoughts on kind of what you foresee and or want out of 2026 in your Star Wars Unlimited journey? Like, give me a couple of thoughts there.
Well, I think 26 is going to be a good year. I like the names of the sets.
Yeah.
Of what they've shown of the set, I like that they're doing triple aspect cards finally. I think that is awesome. I'm a little upset that, some of the mechanics are going away, like a goodbye smuggle. We're 7 weeks away from losing all the smuggle cards.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Sad day. A lot of the bounty cards are going away.
All of them. All the bounty cards are in set 2.
Oh, yeah. All the bounty cards are set 2, too. Yeah.
Gone. Smuggle and bounty gone.
I don't think I'll miss coordinate at all.
I don't think anybody's going to miss coordinate.
I think
I'm going to miss the potential.
I think
exploit. I guess I already do.
I think exploit has far more interesting possibilities than coordinate ever did. Personal opinion.
What keyword?
Exploit. Right? Out of the two keywords in Twilight, I've always thought that exploit had more interesting possibilities. The idea of sacrificing some of our own units and getting more value out of them in some fashion, however that worked, I always thought was an interesting idea. So, anyway, go ahead, continue.
Yes, that's kind of all I really got. I don't really have a lot. I think it could be a really good year, but I think it's going to depend on cards. I think it's going to be on leaders, and we're going to talk later in this about an article, and I'll kind of revisit where I think the game is going there.
Do you have
later in the episode?
Do you have a favorite Star Wars character that you have not yet seen in the game that you would like to see in 2026?
Oh, not one I could think of off the top of my head.
Hitting us with the not listing it.
I literally just thought of that while I was sitting here. Like, that's actually kind of a cool question. So, okay.
I mean, honestly, I just want to see better printed leaders, I guess.
Don't we all?
With the rotation coming, every good leader is rotating out. So I don't think that's not every good leader. I think there are still some decent leaders, but most of the ones that are dominating the meta are going to rotate right out. So it just shows that they were willing to take risks, and it bounced on them sometimes, right? Set 1 had Boba, set 3 had Jango, which both got banned, but they were taking risks still with the leaders, and they were trying things. I feel the leaders are a lot more generic now. It just kind of they could be good, but they need this better stat, or their ability needs to be able to do this just a little better. I feel they always pull back on the leaders right now because of the Jango.
Let's come back to this topic in a minute.
2026 is different. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. We'll come back to it.
Yeah, because 2026
could be different. I will say this, on the new set, A Lawless Time, the art looks great. I really love their art direction.
Man, the art
and
they
I hope
spoiled
it all
so far
stays one style too. It all looks like it's kind of could fit in the same style. So it'd be kind of neat if we had a set that all kind of fit within one style.
Okay,
that'd be kind of cool.
Now, Trey, did you have any thoughts you wanted to share in this particular section? You didn't put anything in here.
No, I haven't listed anything in there. I don't know. I think the game is in a good place play-wise. I'm more concerned about it collectability and profitability for people able to carry the game wise. So
yeah,
I don't have any thoughts about where things are going. I don't like to predict where anything's happening or what's going to happen. I don't like doing predictions, but I like hoping.
I think year 3 is, I don't want to say make or break, because I think that's not accurate, but I think it's going to be Ian's given me I don't know. I think it's, go ahead.
I mean, look, this is why I say year 3 is make or break. As somebody who works for a large corporation, a CEO is given 3 years. If at the end of the 3rd year, it's not working, they move on. And I've seen it happen to my company 3 times in 10 years. So I've only seen one person get a contract that, led us really well for 3 years, got a second contract and led us well for another 3 years before they walked away. The rest of the time it's been 3 years cut, 3 years cut, so 3, I mean, just in business wise, the 3rd year is a big year when it comes to your business.
I agree. I think the 3rd year is going to be a big deal for this game for a lot of different reasons, right? We've talked at length about what we all kind of feel like FFG needs to do to correct course on certain things. And that's been on a variety of subjects in previous episodes. So I'm not going to repeat all of that. But I think that, to me, what I'm looking forward to the most is seeing the influence of the new designers that were brought in as the game was launching. Because we're just, you hear John Leo and crap, I can't remember the other guy who helped him design Legends of the Force, right? So they talk about, they kind of came in and they were in charge of set 5, but to a man, every single one of them talks up set 7 like, this is what our vision for the future of the game looks like. And so that is both exciting and terrifying at the same time. And I'm really curious to see what that looks like. So I'm really looking forward to that. But there's
that statement, Wes, is so 100% accurate. 100%.
There's a lot of positive movement on a lot of different fronts. I would want to see them keep up that momentum. Nobody ever expects all the problems to go away overnight. You don't snap your fingers and things are just magically fixed, right? Problems develop over time. It takes time to correct them, whatever they are. But I just want to see them continue to course correct. They've got some momentum going on some things. Let's keep doing that. For me, the community is still the big highlight, right? The various Discord servers, the tournaments, hanging out with you guys locally. When I travel to events, when I cover events remotely, I love doing that. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that the whole year. Like, I had a blast doing it last year, and I can't wait to do more this year. So it's going to be. I'm looking forward to that.
I had fun.
Yeah.
I had a blast being a sidekick a bunch of times too. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Ruminating on this a little bit while you've been talking, the rotation thing I think is going to be
huge,
both very important and very huge for the game.
Yes,
like the whole getting rid of the not really poorly designed but out of power spec cards of the first three, especially the first set, but the first three sets is going to be exciting. It's going to be important for the game, I think.
I agree. So on that subject, let's take that as a nice segue into kind of our next topic, right? Because the year one leader, look at that, Trey. It's like, look at that, I teed it up for you, and you just hitting it out of the park. He's just giving me that, yeah, you caught it. Well done. Year one leaders still really dominate the overall meta of the game. There are some year two leaders that have kind of made some splashes and broken in and performed well. But in general, like as a rule, the year one leaders still tend to be more popular and perform better. Han 1, both versions of Han, really. Han 1 and Han 2, Yoda, Anakin, so on and so forth, right?
Yoda.
My question, I guess, to the broader audience, I'd love to see the viewers come in and give their thoughts, because we're only 8 weeks out from rotation. My question remains: are there any year two leaders that can really crack the meta and perform well to compete with some of these older cards before rotation happens?
Yeah.
Define crack the meta. Do you mean like
so
do you mean demote Han, but either Han down and become the top one, or just get wins in tournaments?
I'm gonna say let's just use one of these metric gathering sites, right? Your SWU competitive hub or SWU meta analysis or whatever they have. Like, if you were to go in there and look at the top, I'm gonna say the top 10. I'll just pick the top 10. The top 10 leaders performing overall, how they performing overall in terms of these leaders have placed in the top 8 of a PQ, right? Somewhere. And, maybe some of those turned into wins, maybe some of them didn't, but I would consider performing well in the greater Swiss field and making the top 8 cut to be a good metric, that this leader is solid and capable, right? I haven't looked at the numbers. I'm spitballing, but I'm guessing that if we were to go pull those numbers right now
I'm looking at them right now.
The current state of the game,
right here.
I'm gonna guess that 7 of the 10, at a minimum, are year one leaders, and there might be as many as 3 from year 2. But the overwhelming dominance is from year 1. Am I wrong? Ian looks like he's counting.
I mean, you're 100% right.
Okay.
If you just include sets 1, 2, and 3, right? Just sets 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
The only leaders that are even making top 8s at 2% or 6%.
Yeah.
Is you've got
Piet
Red making it at about 6% of the top 8s.
And I'd say
and
Sabe.
You have Palp.
Okay.
Data Vault.
Which Palp?
2.6.
New Palp.
The new one.
New Palp out of set 6.
Palp.
Okay.
But that's just because it's hard control. It's just straight hard control.
It's the blue-green villain shell.
Yeah.
The blue-green villain shell can be made to function off of a variety of leader pairings. So, okay.
Top 8s, right? So, Yoda's got 41. Han 1's got 35 with green. Then you've got Anakin Data Vault with 34. So those are your top 3.
Right. So that's my question. So do you think there's a leader in the year 2 pool who can crack that top 10 in a notable way before all the people in front of him on that chart go away?
No.
Okay.
No, there's not.
Those new Han ECL decks are just nasty. Like, just nasty. Like, I mean, it just takes him a matter of time, right? Like, you saw, like, Yoda was barely played, and now he's, like, almost in every top 8.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Right? Because that's just a good, solid deck. Han is now making a really strong pull, too. I don't think it's there. Trey, do you think anybody's got a chance? Like, any leader?
No, but I think that's an artifact of people learning how to design cards better. So this thinking back longer on just card games in general. Like that, when you design a card game, when somebody designs a card game, they're initially bad at designing that card game. Like they know the rules, they know what they want it to make, but they don't have a good handle on what is the too powerful card versus what is a not enough powerful card. What is overpowered, what is trash. And so as they continue to make cards and put those cards in the hand of thousands and thousands of players, and that stuff gets refined, they go, oh well, this is where we went wrong with this card, making it too powerful. So they can pull back on that. And so what you get, and like the perfect example that I think of this to display this is goes back to the very beginning of Magic the Gathering. So in the very first set of Magic the Gathering, there was a series of cards where you would spend one resource and one card, and you would get 3 of something. And the black one gave you mana, the red one dealt damage, so on and so forth.
Yep.
And they were like, oh, you get 3 of something for one resource. And then they turned it loose on the world, which is great. Turns out that drawing a card is insanely more powerful than healing a life. And so you got one card that's worth $1,000 now, and another card that you would put it in your bike right now to make ticking noises when you drive down the street. That's how little it's worth.
I love that as a kid.
So
I love that.
over as time goes forward, they learned that draw 3 cards for one resource is too powerful, so they bring it back in. And so and that happens with every game. Like the people that either design Magic or learn from Magic the Gathering, you can study the game design and you can take some things from game to game. So it gets better over time, but it doesn't ever get perfectly done. So when they first started designing cards for this game, they knew they had there's no ancestral recall in this game right now. So they didn't have something that was just ridiculously overpowered and like won the game, but they did have some misses. If you go back and look through the cards in the first set, there are a lot of cards, or there's a number of cards that are just too powerful given how the rest of the cards play out. They're too powerful for what they cost. You don't hear as much about them, but there is also a higher percentage of cards that are just trash because they thought they would be more powerful than they were. So you get a much wider disparity in power level of card given what you have to invest to play it. And so when you as time goes on, they learn more how to tone down the power than to rail up the power, because I feel like they're still dealing with too many trash cards. But they pull them back in. So this is one of the reasons that I think rotation is so important, is because it's going to pull those first mistakes, those first overpowered cards are going to get pulled out of the game that most people play, and you're going to be left with. We're going to take what's the best way to phrase this? That we're going to take the cards that they were learning on. They were learning how to make cards for this game. They made a bunch of cards, and some of them they made too powerful. Now we're going to take those out, and we're going to be only playing with the cards that they knew much better how to design cards for this game within a band of what power. And so that's why I don't think anything is going to crack the what we've got going right now, or what's happening right now, because everything's been found, especially with those older ones, and we figured out how to break all those older ones that were too powerful, and they just don't make cards that powerful anymore for a good reason, because they don't want to. They want to pull everything closer in power level to each other. And so we're not going to find anything, because the thing doesn't exist that can outcompete the Hans and the Yodas and so on. But when those rotate out, now we're going to be left with a sea of much more playable, much more comparable power, which is going to be fantastic.
I think you're right. I hope you're right? Because I mean, if you go look at a lot of the year 2 leaders as a group, you just look at those guys. A lot of them are kind of comparable power, in my opinion. They did a really good. I think so far the set that I find to be the best designed in this regard would be JTL. I feel like the JTL leader design of the 3 sets we got in year 2, the JTL leader design absolutely is first rate. Like it just doesn't. Of the 3 sets, that's your best leader pool to look at.
That's just the best set so far. That's the across the galaxy of this game.
I agree, and I would put Legends of the Force behind JTL, but the gap is not that large. I think the weaker leader pool out of Legends of the Force really hurts it in a lot of ways. As fun as the Force token mechanics are, and as good as some of the cards in that set are, and there are some really good cards, I feel like the overall misses on some of the leader designs really kind of hurt them. I think, for my money, one of the things that I consider when I think about this topic is, and we've harped on this topic before on the podcast, is the way that they just drop certain keywords after a set. And it seems like every time...
That's exactly what I was thinking in my head.
Well, so it's like just
and
kind
it
of
just invalidates some leaders.
exactly. So like we print a leader, like you go back and look at set 2. The easy examples, Lando and Hondo, right? 2 leaders that trigger off of the smuggle keywords, but after set 2, we never printed another smuggle card ever again. And so those 2 leaders in their set in limited play are viable and playable and fun. And in that environment, when set 2 was the new hotness, they were viable and playable and fun. But then as soon as you quit supporting them, they kind of lose a lot of steam. And so I think the set 1 leaders, because of all the sets that have come since, set 1 remains the only one that doesn't have a leader designed around one of these goofy new keyword mechanics, right? There isn't one. They're just, so a leader like Sabine or even just Tarkin, it remains solid or strong in an environment because we're going to keep printing Imperials. We're going to keep printing Rebels. We're going to keep having all these cards that interact. And so the more hyper-specific leader pools really kind of hurt them in this regard. And they didn't have that in set 1. So I think seeing that stuff rotate out and then now suddenly everybody's playing on a level playing field helps a little bit. One of my personal gripes, I want some bloody villain leaders that don't suck. Right? I want to play villain. I do not want to play hero.
Been a couple of sets
I want to play competitive villain decks, and they don't exist. They just don't exist.
Make them too powerful. They either make them overpowered and have to ban them, or not powerful enough to play.
The couple that we had that were really strong were too strong and justifiably got kicked to the curb. And there's been maybe a handful that have been solid since then. Like we've seen Mike Gems run with Palpatine Yellow back at the Portland SQ back in October. Vader, the Vader weenie space deck, right? Pilot Vader is still not a bad deck. But like in general, where are my good villain leaders? They're just gone. They evaporated. There's some ones that are fun to play, and they're solid little B tier. But as the meta will tell you, nothing is competitive if it's not hero right now. And that
So I'm going to bring this back to my well-designed card thing. I'm going to bring this back to my well-designed card thing because there are villain leaders especially in the later sets. I'm thinking of Piet and I'm thinking of the new Palpatine in Secrets of Power.
That's fair.
So the most powerful thing that you used to be able to do is when cheating resources,
cheat the economics of the game
is what makes them code. If you can cheat the economics of the game, then that's a very powerful and you would want to play it. In the early sets of the game, they did not know how to appropriately cost cheating things out.
Yeah.
With the first Yellow Han in the first set, they thought, if we make it burn a card, if their hand goes down in sides, that's appropriately costed. And it wasn't. It was still too powerful to cheat resources. We can play somebody for cheaper. It's only going to apply to units, and you're going to deal damage to them. With the second Han, still not powerful enough. Well, we do have 2 villain leaders right now that I think they're much more fairly costed and fair for what you get, where you have to play a capital ship, or you have to wait until turn 6 or 7 or whatever it is, and then you get a massive discount on 1 card. So I think those leaders exist. They just exist in a space where your villain leaders exist. They exist in a space where they are not as wildly overpowered as the ones that came before that did something similar exist.
Fair. And
I said it earlier, they just don't seem to be taking risks with the leaders anymore. They just don't. Everything seems generic. Like seems like, like I'll use Kenobi. Like I really like Kenobi from the new set. Hero. Kenobi from
set 5.
Legends of the Force.
From set 5.
Yeah,
okay.
set 5.
Yeah.
Legends of the Force. I really like him a lot. Should be, I forget what he is when he flips. He should have one more attack power.
He's a 3/6.
Like literally one more.
He's a 3/6 when he flips. I'm almost positive.
Yeah. If he was a 4/6, he'd be much more playable and a better card.
But
you're defining that now. You're defining that now in a metagame where we have all of the first 3, really the first 2 sets. I guess Yoda's in the third set too, but we have all of those leaders. I think we should reserve that. We've only been speaking in that context for the entirety of the game, but now that we're so close to rotation, I think we should pull back the judgment until we see what happens when we don't have these wildly overpowered leaders from the first set sucking all the oxygen out of the room. Maybe when Han is gone and Yoda is gone and all those other ones, now that 3/6 Yoda is actually pretty good, or at least playable, and the 3/6 is not that bad.
Or set 7 could be like set 1, and then sets
could be
5,
but I don't think
5 and 6 are unplayable.
I find that
everybody's playing set 7.
I find that unlikely, right? Because one of the things, we've heard them talk about, various FFG employees, set 1 came out and they were already designing set 7 or 8 or whatever it was at the time. But they weren't printed. Those cards were not printed. They were just being designed. And even if you have to finalize a set, I'm just going to pick a number, a year. Let's say you have to finalize a set a year out to make sure that you print it, package it, have it shipped and ready, okay? They still had a full year of data of watching people play their game and seeing how leaders were costed and how leader stats to be available. I refuse to believe that there was not, and if they felt it necessary, the opportunity to go back and tweak some of those stats a little bit, right? Now, the danger, and Trey's pointed this out before, right? The one last nerf mentality that screwed them so badly on Twilight, right? That
Legends of the Force leaders.
And I think some of the Legends of the Force leaders went through a little bit of the same problem. I hope, fingers crossed, that they have been able to resist some of that. I would rather they bring all of the leaders in the game up a little bit than try to kick everybody down. Everybody wants to have your leader is the most central part of your deck. So if everybody's leaders are a little on the strong side, everybody's still working from the same playbook, right? Your leader should always be a strong card. Should be a good card. You want it to be a good card. And because as we've seen, bad leaders just die. They just don't get played, do they? So simple. Like, to me, I say simple, but if they can break out of the one last nerf mentality and try to keep things at a nice solid power level for everybody, I think leader design has the possibility to be one of the best things we see in the new year. We got to see how it goes. Anybody have any more thoughts on that particular topic?
I do not like Carabast.
Oh my.
I have decided that I dislike Carabast.
Well, that was a hell of a segue, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Trey.
I don't like it. I don't care for it.
Okay.
For 2 reasons. Restrictions breed creativity, and absence makes the heart grow fonder. I love steak. I enjoy myself a good steak. I love spaghetti. I'm going to have my birthday's this weekend. I'm going to celebrate with my kid. I'm going to go to spaghetti now. I'm going to celebrate it with my daughters tomorrow night, a day early, because I'm going to be out. And they're going to make me I have a birthday dinner. It is spaghetti, and they make me a chocolate cake, and it's awesome. And I have that once a year. Mm-hmm. If I had that every day and unfettered access to do that as much as I wanted, it would no longer be special. Mm-hmm. And I have figured out that having access to play with any card at any time in any quantity that I want to, with no economics forcing me to have I go get the card to play it or play. I don't have this card, so I'm going to play with something else. That keeps me from exploring a lot of cards and having the ability to just sit at my computer and jam a game. I'm sitting here, I'm doing something else. I got to take a break for 5 minutes. I'm going to go play 2 or 3 games of Star Wars Unlimited. And having the ability to do that has made me much less interested, and it's just not special anymore. And I want it to be special. I want our Tuesday nights where we go out. I don't want to sit here on a Tuesday afternoon and be like, do I really want to go out? I want to be Tuesday afternoon. I want to be pumped and excited that I get to go play cards with my friends tonight. And I'm not at the moment because I have unfettered access to it and I can just play games all I want. I'm sure it is fine for some people. If you don't have a local scene and this is your only access and you want to play the game and that's all you got, it's a stand-in for that.
Yeah.
But I'm about ready to knock this thing off of get rid of the shortcut, take it off my computer, not play the game. And so that one, I have to build decks with cards that I actually own instead of just play anything you want in any quantity, because I need those restrictions to put me back into deck. I haven't built a single deck on my own from this new set because I haven't needed to, because everything exists and I can build with whatever, and I haven't been pushed to create something on my own. Yeah, I know, but I haven't been incentivized to do it because I can just do whatever I want, anything with no restrictions, and play it anytime I want. And it's made it unspecial. And I want it to be special again.
What's interesting to me is that you have a dislike of the kind of the online play tools. I know you're kind of harping on Carabas, but it's not the only way you can play SWU digitally. It's one of the most popular, I would argue.
Okay.
To me, their value is in the ability to try crazy things, right? I'm going to build a Rex Droid Manufactory deck, and I don't feel like pulling the cards out of my binder, but I'm going to throw it together and go throw it against the wall and just mechanically get a feel for, does it function? Like, do the cards gel together the way I think they do? So there is some advantage there. I'm with you. I kind of have a bit of a down opinion on Karabast. The guys developing are fabulous. But
it's a great tool.
Oh, it's a fabulous tool. What I dislike about it is that it teaches, in my opinion, it teaches bad habits and makes players lazy, because the online routines do so many things for you that I find that when players then go sit down and play a live game across the table from a real human opponent, the way the game was designed and is meant to be played, mechanically they suck. Or they're messy or difficult to follow, or whatever. And it's or they don't know how things work because Karabast does it automatically for them. So when they play some crazy complicated sequence of cards that they're used to,
I should have done this.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, you should have, I'm not going to tell you.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And so it's like I understand the value, but there is absolutely no substitute for playing the game with cards in your hand across the table from another human. It was designed for that. And if you intend to be a competitive player, there is no substitute for getting those reps in, particularly if you're playing with cards that require weird interactions.
I want to play for the social aspect, and I want to play to spend time with my friends. I want to try to win, and I want to play good things. And having the ability and just sitting down and mindlessly grinding out games scratches that itch enough that I'm not excited. I mean, I like going, but I'm not looking forward to that next Tuesday every single time.
Now,
I would tell you, Trey, to stop playing Karabast as random games. I only play on Karabast when I'm playing with somebody I know, so that we can talk back and forth and work on deck ideas. I'm not playing randos anymore. I create a game, give somebody a password, and we play a few games to work on some deck ideas. So I would tell you to maybe look at...
I had friends who would play games with me.
Yeah, because you don't have any of those people at all.
Nobody invites me to play games.
Yeah, totally.
Because you don't have an entire Discord where you could be like, hey, does anybody want to play a game on Karabast real quick? I don't know any location where you could find maybe 10 or 15 people that are online at any given time to play a game with. I have no idea
we have like
that you have access to that.
We have like 3 SWU Discords for Houston alone.
I know.
So
have you met Houston people though? Do you really want to hang out with them?
I have. I see them at DL all the time.
Too funny.
I love Karabast. I just don't play random games anymore.
Also, a good idea.
I find that when I play random games, I'm either playing like the top decks over and over again. Yoda, or whatever the new hotness is. Like last week I played a lot of Han 2 ECL.
Yeah.
And like had to, I'm helping somebody who's working on a Han 2 ECL deck. It doesn't matter what I play. Like the thing's just running over me. But, they want to play test against other people. Like I've made a lot of friends on Karabast by just talking to random people too when I first started playing random games. So I don't know. My advice would be play with people so that you can still interact in the chat. I don't like the anonymous, like no chatting, don't know who they are. I'm not a big fan of that anymore.
That does make it worse. Man.
Yeah.
It does. It really does. Well, like they'll make a misplay and instead of clicking undo, they cancel the game. And you're like, bro, there's undo. It's right there.
Yeah. Like I had a thought here and it just completely left my head. But anyway, so yeah, I hear you. I don't know what else to say there. I think it's a valuable tool, but it absolutely has some drawbacks. So
have you ever tried a Force Table?
I have.
By the way, Trey?
I have.
No, I haven't. What would make that better? I've always been under the impression that Karabast does it better than anybody else. So if I'm going to play online,
Force Table is just AI. It's just AI. So like you can pick like no. So like you can like you take somebody's like meta deck, right? Like I've been playing when I test decks on Force Table, I'm testing a lot against the Yoda deck, right? So can I beat an AI version of Yoda? If I can't beat an AI version of Yoda, I can't take it to Dragon's Lair. Because it means it's not even stable enough to beat a computer. But you can set the computer different ways. I don't know. It's just another way to play if you want to test your decks, like the things you want to build.
One more word of warning, and this is the thought I'm getting it. The thought has come back now.
I saw it creep in from the frame on the side.
I know, right? anytime one of these big content creators puts out a video on a deck, or there's some kind of new hotness that places or wins a PQ, you can reliably go to Carabast and see it everywhere. Everybody is trying it. They've copy pasted the deck out of Melee into Carabast, and they're trying it out. I'll say this: one of the things that I do enjoy going there is I'll just spectate games. I'll just watch. Right, I think that's sometimes is also interesting, just to see what people are trying, and especially when you see like the weird leader based pairing, something like, what is that? You'll click on it. You can just go watch games. Sometimes that can be interesting. So yeah. Right before Christmas, guys, they posted an article on the main Star Wars website, a big, giant, sprawling game theory article from Tyler Parrott. And I had not noticed this until Trey started absolutely blowing up our little chat with this, OMG, how are we not recording a podcast? I have got to talk about this before my head explodes. So for those of you guys that haven't read this article, I cannot possibly summarize it because it covers a lot of topics. I will give you the 10,000 foot version, and there'll be a link in the podcast description and everything. I would encourage you to go read it. It is essentially the game designs team kind of talking about kind of how certain things, certain deck ideas, and certain concepts in the game make you feel as a player on both sides, on both the I'm doing this to my opponent or I'm receiving this punishment from my opponent. I'll just use hand discard as an example, right? How it feels to discard cards out of your opponent's hand, how it feels to have that done to you, and the various kind of ways that they have attempted to gather data and analyze players' responses to that, things they like, things they don't like, and fundamentally, like, kind of the underlying tones of how this translates into the term that he keeps using is player agency. In other words, is the mechanic that you're up against, and I'll stick with hand disruption, is this something that has some counterplay? Do you feel completely at the mercy of it? And all these kinds of things. It's a very, very kind of, there's a lot packed in here. And Trey, in particular, had some thoughts. Go ahead.
Hit pause on if you're not driving or you're just sitting at home and you're listening to us, hit pause, read the article, then listen to us. Because I guarantee at home, and when you read the article, you're going to be ranting a little bit to yourself.
Maybe
not everybody.
I think everybody's going to take this differently.
Or you really agree with it.
I think everybody's going to take this a little differently, because I initially had some reactions, and then I read Trey's reactions, and that also kind of then colored my opinions a little bit. So I'm going to let him go through his thoughts here, and then we'll talk some more.
So I want to it's not all negative.
No, it's not.
It's not. I definitely want to make there's going to be some negativity in this, but I want to make sure that I cover, because I don't like being just negative, and I don't want to. If I'm just negative all the time, nobody will listen to me. So, nor will they think I'm being fair, and nor if I was negative all the time would I be fair. So I want to make sure that I give kudos where it's due, so that when I say something that is hopefully constructive, at worst negative, it's at least taken seriously. So to start with, I absolutely love these articles. I love when people write these articles. I love theory. I'm really like knowing why. Like, if you talk to me about anything and some decision was made, something happened in the world, I want to know why. I want to know why everything happens. And that's not just limited to games. That's my whole outlook on life. I want to know why everything happens, and then it makes sense to me. And so this started, I think I've said this on the podcast before. So I've done a little bit of game design, but my journey to this started with Mark Rosewater, who's the head guy at Magic. He started writing articles in the 2000s called Making Magic. He had a series of articles, a column called Making Magic. And he would talk about like the different type of people that play, or how you do different things in game design. And it was just eye-opening for me. I was in my late 20s, I think, when they started happening. And so Trey in his late 20s was not the well-adjusted, emotionally sensitive 90s guy you know before you right now. Trey has always been autistic. Like, and I'm not like, I'm not like nonverbal autistic, but I do have a kiss of the autism fairy, just enough that I can really concentrate on things. And I have had really trouble throughout my life understanding people having a different point of view than me, which that's not that kind of everybody, but like just understanding that people see things differently. So I understand that. It's something I've worked on not my whole life, but once I figured out that I needed to do that. And so it was a big, just personal development thing for me when Mark Rosewater started pointing out that other people like other things, and that's okay. And so I use that to further both my understanding of games, which is I love creative expression of designing games, and just my outlook, how I handle life, and just being able to interact with other people who see things differently than me, which was not always apparent to me. So it's a very learned skill for me. So when I first read this article, I was super pumped. I was like, oh, this is a game theory article. I get to delve into the mind of the why of the game designer. And my knee-jerk I stopped like maybe a third of the way through the article because my knee-jerk reaction was a lot angrier and a lot more visceral than I really expected.
Yes, it was.
It was. I mean, if you want to talk about being triggered, I was triggered.
You were triggered.
Scorched earth.
Scorched earth. I was afraid you were going to go
to my buddies.
I was afraid you were going to go up there and burn the place down. Like you were legit. And what was amazing was it kept coming. You read this article and then you like wall of text crits you for like 4,000 damage. And then like 8 minutes goes by and here comes more. And I'm like, Trey, you got to stop doing this to yourself, buddy. You're going to give yourself a heart attack. And then like 20 minutes goes by and here's another one. I'm like, okay, like this is not healthy.
All right. So we talk about this game in this podcast, and I'm sure we all have different opinions. We have some similar opinions and some different opinions on things outside of this game, whether it's life or family or politics or whatever. We have different terms, and we try to keep this within the game. So I don't want to take this beyond just the confines of us talking about Star Wars Unlimited. And sometimes I do, talking about my outlook on life or how I handle things as I tap the mic. So I want to just focus this. I was not prepared for the externalities of what other people's real lives are to impact me in a game where I'm sitting down to read about SWU and the design of SWU and seeing somebody else's, I don't think they would consider it politics, but their
worldview.
Their worldview impacted and colored what they were saying in an article about what I was reading. And it was, it caught me off guard and it got a reaction out of me.
You and me both, because I caught it very quickly as well and was like, wait, what? So yes, I noticed as well.
Okay. So based on that, like just what they talk about this angry wall of text of like paragraph after paragraph coming through, it stopped abruptly. When it stopped, like, it was like,
oh yeah.
I love that wall of text crit you for 4,000. That was fantastic. But then it like stopped completely. Oh, yeah. There was no like trickle off. So because I thought to myself, I was like, whoa, I'm going to need to take a beat on this. I can't sit here and read this. I have other things to do because I'll spend an hour on it. But also this is hitting you harder than it really should. So you're going to need to think about this later. So I put it down. Like I said, I only read like a third of the article, maybe half, but I put it down. I didn't look at it for a couple of weeks. It was only in the last couple of days that I finally picked it up and like tried to come back with it fresh eyes. And this time steeling myself to, okay, you're dealing with somebody that is very different from you on their worldview outlook. So let's put on all this stuff you've learned over the years by being an autist that you had to learn, that you are dealing with somebody that sees the world differently, and try to read it with that in mind. And so reading it with that in mind, I did not have quite the visceral experience this time around getting through it. There are a number of points that I liked in this article. So some of the things, just to kind of go with it, he has a theory on what makes players find what they find frustrating and what their interactions with the wider TCG world. Things like having your cards ripped out of your hand or having your creatures blown up before you play them, like the things that frustrate players.
Sure.
I liked that he had the theory of what people go into a game looking for. Like that's fascinating to me. He said that some people are going in looking for, they're concerned with what they have in their hand and not so much on the board. They're concerned with the future plays. And so they don't really care what's going on the board because they're setting up some future play that's going to help them succeed at the game. Whereas other people are very they're not invested in so much as what they have in their hand. They're not paying attention to what's happening in future turns as much as they are as what they've already played. Right. And so he gave this continuum of, he said, allowed that everybody exists on this line of, are you somebody that is invested in what you've played on the board more, or do you slide further down the line to, I don't care as much as what I played now because I'm setting up something big later. So I think that was an interesting way to look at it. But it was his overall tone that's what caught me initially viscerally. But being able to,
Ian's wagging his finger.
Ian's wagging. If you're an audio only, Ian's nodding aggressively.
Yes.
And so it was the overall tone that he took, that he sees his players with. I wrote this earlier. It is
he's
he doesn't put bounds on
game designers.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and this is the people designing the game. So he built this line. I do think it's interesting. He built this continuum line of, do you like this or do you like this, and where do you live on that spectrum? But he didn't leave any room for any to be off that line. That rubs me the wrong way. Some of this is the part that really triggered me, is the way that he used terms. Particularly, he used the terms feeling safe, and that's not fair. And it just conveys this tone that he thinks all of his players are selfish children who just want to do the thing they want to do. And anyone who gets in the way is a big meanie and not being fair. There's no mention in there at all of the joy and fulfillment that you can get in striving to overcome. Like, it is picturing myself as the person that he's describing, sitting down to play a game. And I'm playing my game, and my opponent does something either to interact. Say I'm an on the board person, and my opponent kills my stuff. There's no room in there in his take on what he thinks his players are for me to go, okay, I see what you're doing. I'm taking that as a challenge to make myself better, to get better, to overcome what you're trying to do and do it in the future. From the way that and he may not think this, I may be interpreting the article wrong. This is just how I read the article. There's no room in there for me to take that as a challenge. It is just somebody stopping me. This is me as a player, the player that he's describing being me in this hypothetical situation. Somebody stopping me from what I want to do, and that's not fair. I don't feel safe. And so that was what struck me, that was the tone that just put me over the edge, especially the first time, of, do you think so little of your players that you don't think any of them are going to find, like, that's not a valid option to you, is to have somebody take joy and find purpose and fulfillment in the head-to-head butting, and having somebody do things to you to stop what you're trying to do, and that your challenge that you find fulfilling is to overcome that and succeed anyway? Does that person not exist in your worldview? So that's what I just, and furthermore, if that's how your worldview exists, like, if you're going to design a game, that game is going to go south very quickly, because if you just deal with people who are that childish, they're just going to pack up their ball and go home. Like, it's not going my way. I'm going to pack up my ball and go home because I don't get to do the thing that I want. When that's not how this game is. I'm not taking it outside this game. Not taking it out of this game. It's a game. That is
not how the game works.
That is just the game. Like, there has to be some level of pushing people to grow up and think about the game differently or get left behind.
Well,
like, you have to. There's a continuum in this end of catering to every whim of the player versus get good scrub. And I say that a lot. Like, somebody says, "Oh, this sucks. I don't want to." And my response often is, "Get good scrub. Like, learn how to deal with this and overcome it." And I usually say that tongue in cheek, but I say that as somebody who has raised people. I have to go outside the game a little. As somebody who has raised people and, like, pushed them to grow and become their own people, like, there has to be some level of push in a direction. You can't go all the way to the right and just throw the kid in the deep end of the water and learn to either swim or die. Like, that's too far. But on the other end of I'm going to do anything you want because I don't want you to think that I'm not being fair and I'm being mean to you. Like, you can't do either of those. There's got to be some level of pushing.
To use the other end of your analogy, you can't leave the arm floaties on forever. Okay.
Exactly.
There's the middle ground is somewhere in between. You have to be willing to challenge them.
And that was the tone. There was no space in any of that article for, I want to challenge my players to grow. And that's what really got me. It all relied on, everybody's a victim in this game. Something that does something mean to you, you're a victim who can't overcome this, when the answer to find more fulfillment is, somebody did something bad to you in the game, so overcome that, and what a sense of accomplishment that is. So I welcome feedback and being challenged on this.
Ian, you have some thoughts on this.
Oh, man.
Jump in.
First of all, if you're a lead game designer, my opinion is do not write an article that has I in the article a lot, right? and, and then a lot of you, where he's just assuming what we like as players and don't like as players. First of all, let me say I'm worried that he's only running into people like myself when we're ready to explode, like I did at Vegas, and those are the only people he's talking to, right? Look, there's a line in the. I'm gonna start with. There's a line in the article that says, "If the game ends before I can play a card I built my deck around, I kicked your ass and did exactly what I, as the other player, needed to do to beat you."
Sorry.
I'm sorry. That's just the way it works.
I mean,
if some of the complaints he's getting are about people top decking a win, that's part of just dumb ass luck.
That's TCGs.
But yeah, that's my
that happens
point.
everywhere.
Like, you know, he's talking about, like, this is what I really worry about from reading the article, okay? Is that he's hearing all these complaints from players about how their feelings get hurt because they lose to a hot shot blaster, or they lose to a surprise strike pulled off the top, or, they run up against hard control and every card they played gets destroyed as soon as they play it. Players are complaining that, they're discarding cards from my hand. Like, this is the worst thing ever. The Ahsoka is kicking my butt. Ahsoka's a 3/4, bro, that you lose a card for. Like, call it a day, man. Like, you have to be... It just felt like he didn't understand, like, the middle ground of players. Like, as somebody who's new to TCGs myself, right? Mm-hmm. He talks about how, like, he wants players to be able to build theme decks and feel comfortable. Well, you can't build a theme deck and feel comfortable because you're not playing the best cards. I'll use myself as an example. I showed up my first night at Dragon's Lair, my first time playing Star Wars Unlimited, with a themed Hera deck. Where I had all the Spectre cards in there, right? Yeah, I didn't win a game all night.
Yeah.
Throughout my time playing, I've built decks where, like, I had, like, the Death Star crew, right? And, all the heroes that were on the Death Star, right? And I got slaughtered, but it was fun to play. I understand theme decks. I build a lot of them. They're fun to play. But I don't expect them to crush people and be like these outstanding decks. Because at the end of the day, there's these teams out there that are going to put the best cards together. They're going to work them out, and they're going to find these meta decks. So there's nothing you can do about that. No. My worry is that, based on reading the article, is that we can say goodbye to single removal cards. We can say goodbye to discard, and we can say goodbye to quick attack cards, is what I'll call them, like Surprise Strike, Hot Shot Blaster. Because I
don't think
thinks
we'll say
that
goodbye
that's...
to him.
Well,
I agree, but finish your thought, Ian, and then I'm going to jump in.
Based on his article, those are the complaints he gets, so those are the cards that he's going to struggle to build, right? So, and you can kind of see it in the set design, right? Like, I'll use, like, probably what's going to be when the rotation happens, one of the better removal cards will be Shatterpoint. Well, it's only good if you use a force base, so you have to lose 2 health from your base. So, a lot of the removal cards that you see in 4, 5, and 6 show this point of view, right? What's the one that defeats all units except for upgraded units?
Right? You're thinking of Nebula Ignition at 9 cost,
Nebula Ignition, right?
Yeah.
Like, and the only real, like, I take your card and defeat it, or, like, single defeat card is...
No Glory.
No Glory only resorts now, and that's a 5-cost card. So, like, you can kind of see in the set design that what he thinks the players don't like, they're pulling out. And if the game becomes we just slug it out on the ground and space arena, and there isn't other types of decks, and it's just unit-based decks, it's not going to be as fun. I like sitting down sometimes across from somebody who's playing, like, a hard control, or I like to build discard decks, like those type of things. Like, there has to be multiple strategies to win the game. It can't just be who pulls the bigger units and let's slug it out on the ground. That's not going to be fun, and that's not going to survive another year. And if that's where we're headed, that worries me.
So if you look at the way, for starters, I hear what you're saying, and I don't necessarily disagree. But here's my perspective. If you look at the way they have been designing cards since JTL, okay, let's take 2 simple examples. Let's use you used a card. You talked about Surprise Strike, a nice staple common card, set 1, attack with anything, +3, solid, easy, 2 cost. Okay. They've never printed a card as generically good as Surprise Strike. Again, there's one possible exception out of set 3. I'd say Breaking In is close. For 2 costs, you get a +2 with the Saboteur. Okay, so it gets that. It's not quite as strong, but it gets the Sab bonus. You can get it past Sentinels. Okay, great.
Yeah, but now when they build them, they make Pounce, which requires a creature.
Correct. So now what they're doing, you go back and look at set 4. Okay, look at JTL. You had a card called Punch It, which is a nice, a cheaper card. It's a 1 cost for a +2 to a vehicle. You talk about Pounce in set 5, a +4 to a creature. So what they're doing is these cards exist, but now the targets for them have narrowed to this card can be played on any unit in your deck, to this card can be played on any unit in your deck if you build your deck with certain restrictions or a certain way, or you draw it at the right time and you have the right unit on the board or whatever. For my money, I think, I won't say that results in better design, but I think it creates a world where the removal...
More varied gameplay.
It's more varied gameplay. And the cards, for me, the cards that need these restrictions, that need this weird tailoring to them, are the removal cards. The removal cards in year 1 are insane, right? It's, I paid 3, you have to blow up a unit. I paid 4, I just murdered something with 5 or more power, or whatever. And now it's, you have to have a force token, or the unit has to have attacked your base this turn, or you have to disclose double blue when you play this card, or whatever. So they're creating more restrictions where you can still get that powerful effect, but you have to meet some other ancillary requirement in your deck. You have to have interacted with the unit. It has to have interacted with you. Either it's damaged, like Retaliation, I think, is the one that has to attack a base. There's one out there that's like, if it's damaged, you can pay 5 and murder it. So we're getting away from cards like Vanquish, which are just pay 5 and blow something off the board that's not a leader, to pay 5 and blow something off the board that attacks your base, or that you've damaged. This has damage on it, which means it interacted with a unit, which means you have to have played a unit. How many hard control decks play a lot of units? Not many. So you're starting to kind of see some of this filter in the game. For me, I like that better. Now, like you, Ian, I like hand disruption decks. I feel like hand disruption in this game is in a weird place, and always kind of has been, because the drawing 2 cards a turn, especially in the late game, kind of makes the hand destruction a little less valuable. Right? Hand destruction is really strong early and really strong in the mid game. But once you get past about 6 resources, 6 to 7, depending on the leader, most decks can feel a little more comfortable taking a turn off here and there to resource, depending on where their top end is. So hand disruption, as a game goes long, becomes a little less viable. With that said, though, I loved hand disruption in Destiny. Destiny, like discarding cards out of your opponent's hand, was one of the things that you could do with your dice results in Destiny. And it was very difficult. In fact, I don't think it was possible in most cases to draw cards mid-turn in Destiny. So it was possible to actually gut your opponent's entire hand in a game of Destiny, to the point where they would literally have nothing to play. And then they couldn't discard cards to reroll dice, which was also a big deal. Getting to that point in Unlimited requires a very dedicated deck and the right draw of cards. But look at a leader like Padme or Sabe. I don't think those mechanics are going away. I think maybe they're going to reconsider how they design cards with them, and maybe put some more restrictions on, you have to do this to achieve this discard thing. Go look at a card like Pillage, right? Which I think is set 2. Pay 4. Your opponent discards 2 cards. I don't think you'll see that again. But I could see a card where you paid some cost, and if you damaged your opponent's base this turn, now they have to discard a card. Now they have to discard cards. Yeah. Like, I think that kind of thing is what you're going to see more of in the future. Personal opinion.
So I agree with a lot of that. The cards that are being played that you're reciting, Ian, I fall more with Wes's view of it, in that they're just changing the way the cards are built. So that's why I'm willing to look at this article and be like, this is just a difference of philosophy on life and philosophy on card design. If I see this type of philosophy permeating the cards, that I don't see it yet. I don't see that in any of the cards that I've seen designed. So I'm willing to leave it and take it as kind of a one-off. And if that doesn't become a one-off and it starts influencing card design, it would drive me away pretty quickly.
Well, it's the strength of having,
and that's my worry. If this game becomes a slug it out unit attack, it's gonna lose its fun.
I don't think that's going to happen. And here's why. Tyler Parrott, who wrote this, is not the only guy designing cards, is he? There's a whole bloody team of people up there, all of whom just
and they're testing them now.
Yes, but just
paid testers.
Oh, do they? I missed this part.
Yeah.
Just like us, though, the people that design the game all have different things they like, different things they don't like, different interests. And so the reason you have to get a decent sized team, a diverse team, to use the hot word, is because you need all those different perspectives to be able to generate a balanced set, a balanced product for your customers and for your game. Otherwise, if everybody who designs cards all loves control and hates aggro, well, then your game is going to reflect that, and that's you've literally just alienated everybody in your player base who enjoys playing aggro decks. They're like, well, they clearly look at these cards. They clearly don't want my business. They don't want me playing their game. They don't want me spending money on their game. I'm out, right? So you can't do that.
We'll see. I mean, I think this set's going to show us a lot. I just want them to explain to me how like a keyword like hidden gets to move forward, but a keyword like smuggle gets lost in the past. And I can't figure it out yet. And I just really want them to explain that to me one day. Like, this is why. Like,
it's because smuggle is themed. Because the word smuggle is themed. No, that's it. That's the whole reason it gets left behind, because not every set is not enough sets are going to deal with that. 2 or 3 of them, man. You don't have to print that many. It's just, that's how it is. Some of them just get left on the ash heap of history, and it's arbitrary, and you just got to get over it.
Plot could have been smuggle.
No, it couldn't have, because it behaves differently, and they wanted it to be on the flip side.
But instead of putting it in, you could have just made it a smuggle one. Like, so it would have been just as good.
I enjoy, as much as I enjoy both keywords, I think plot is a much more balanced version of smuggle. Right? Smuggle cards are fun. But look, I mean, a card like Hotshot Blaster is just gross, okay? And compare it to cards that are good but just don't see play. A card like Smuggler's Aid, right? Oh, I can just late game, I can play this, I can spend 3 to heal 3 off my base, and you don't ever see that card get a lot of play. But that's a really strong effect for a card that you can resource at the beginning of the game and play on turn 7, right? As an example. The plot cards have a that one specific timing window, and I love the way they function. That's a keyword that I actually wish they would kind of consider keeping around, because I don't
think they will.
I don't think they will either. But I wouldn't mind it, because I like the mechanics of it better than smuggle. Right? I can as a player, stepping back and playing the strategic game, the board in front of me, what smuggle cards can just happen. You don't have any idea. They're like ambushes. Your opponent's hand is bigger than you thought it was, and you didn't know. Plot cards are the same way, but you can reliably predict when your opponent's flip turn is going to happen, or is at least likely to happen. And with knowledge of the cards that they are possibly or likely to have in their deck, you might be able to work around some of their goofy mechanics. And that doesn't always work. Boba and Topple the Summit, for example, work together very well. That's a great combo. But sometimes you can play around certain things your opponent might want to plot out, because you know the timing window of when you can expect that leader to come onto the board. That's part of the tactics and the strategy of the game. I like that. Smuggle there is nothing really you can do against smuggle. It's just like, well, I drew the card earlier, I resourced it, and now I'm going to bash you in the face with it. Have fun.
So I will say this: if they had continued to reprint smuggle, we would not have gotten plot. Plot would not.
I would agree,
because if you take something like smuggle and you just continue to push it forward, you've totally soaked up the play cards from your resource
row.
is
Mechanics,
totally sucked up, and
it's
you
forever.
can never adjust it again as long as you can never go back and do it differently. As long as you keep printing smuggle, and so that just is totally closed off. And they can't print them in the same set. They can't even print them close to each other in sets because it's from a game designer perspective, that's confusing for players.
Yeah,
and that's a cardinal sin is you cannot confuse your players.
If they're gonna do 3 set rotations, they need to do 3 set themes.
Now here, I like where your head's at.
Okay. Well, like I'm gonna use hold on, let me just use JTL as an example, right? Like, we have that whole set now, right? JTL's the only one with pilots. Why couldn't other sets have pilots? So it's non-logical to me. Like, you want to rotate them out 3 at a time, then they should be, I don't know. To me, it just
I'd be fine.
I really like some of the mechanics. Like like one of my favorite cards to play is Vader. JTL Vader, right?
Yes.
Even playing him on the ground at the right time isn't a bad call when you get a 6-cost 7/7, right?
So good.
When you can get him in the air, he's even more deadly. Like, I want to keep having more pilots. Like, when we rotate out, the JTL leaders will be absent. I just don't think there's a place for them in after rotation. I don't think any of those leaders are strong enough. I don't know how many pilot cards we're going to see.
You mean okay, you're talking about when year 1 rotates out, you're saying that you don't think the pilot leaders are going to be around very much. See, I feel I feel the complete opposite.
Based on what I see them printing, the game's going to the ground. And you're going to have those one-off people who are going to the air, and people are going to have strategies to pull it out.
I
don't know. That's just my opinion. Like, I could be totally wrong because I've played TCGs for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
But it just seems like it's a mechanic that it's not going to hold up as well. Like, it's like coordinate. Like, it's not going to hold as well.
I want to go back and ask Trey a question. Okay. Trey, you played Magic far longer than I ever did. What Ian is referencing, the idea of taking a theme, right, and managing it over the course of several sets, a cycle, I think is how Magic used to call it. Didn't they do that? Didn't they used to take a theme and over several sets explore a theme, and then when that, for a year or 3 or 4 expansions? Okay.
So they would it would be 1 year would kind of be set with Magic. It's a different universe in every single year,
right?
Or every single set that just goes from universe. They call it the multiverse. And for a long time, what they did is they would have a year of sets, and that year of sets would kind of tell a story in the same universe of this multiverse, going from one piece to the next story. It'll jump forward 500 years until the next story. And so there was an overlap in mechanics. I don't think they do that anymore, but they've thrown their set design up in the air so much that I don't think they for a long time that's how they did it. And that is, to do that, you have to have somebody that is shepherding the entire process. And so they work with whoever's designing sets 1, sets 2, and sets 3 of the year, and they plan it all out as one contiguous thing.
Right.
And instead of saying, here's a set in March, Joe, Bob, Tim, and Mary, you guys design this. 4 other people, you design the next set, without them really talking back and forth, other than just make sure they're not doing the same thing. So it requires a higher level of management between the two. But I'm certainly not opposed to that. The idea of creating something that has more room to explore, like say pilots had more room to explore, then you could trickle out a few pilots in the second set. So in Legends of the Force, you have a couple of pilots, or you have 3 pilots, and then in Secrets of Power, you have 1 pilot. And then,
you can't tell me in Legends of the Force having an Anakin pilot card wouldn't have been awesome.
Would have been awesome. I would have loved
it. It would have been great, and I'm not necessarily opposed to that. But you then you have to take that gets further into set design, because you have to figure out which mechanics support that and put them in the first set, and then take the mechanics that are only going to be good for a year and 3 months, or a year and 4 months, or whatever it is, and put that in the last set, because you're not going to roll mechanics from Secrets of Power to a Lawless Time.
Yeah,
because if you're designing in a year contiguous year like that, so
why not? Like you can't tell me a villain like a Lawless Time. You could use Thrawn again. He's in that time period. You can't tell me he's not a plotting leader.
Well, I'm just going to what you were saying of designing a year at a time. Designing a year at a time. If you look at the JTL, Legends of the Force, and Secrets of the Power, and design those, or are you talking about you look at JTL and then you design that with the previous set and the next set in mind? Like it's always the middle set.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I think there are ways they can. I think there are ways they could hook set design together to make beloved keywords stick around longer.
I like that.
But I don't think they're there yet.
No,
they might get there. I don't know.
But I'm with Ian. I like your idea because I like the idea of saying, okay, we're going to introduce, let's just say it's year 5. I'm just going to look at the view. It's year 5 of the game. And we're going to introduce this two new keywords in set 10, whatever it is. I don't know, set 12, whatever. And then for the next year, the 2 sets after that, those keywords are going to continue to get supported. Maybe we'll give you a new leader. Maybe we'll give you new instances of those keywords on other cards that then can work with the leaders that we printed back in this other set that trigger off of that keyword so that we don't end up with Lando and Hondo again getting left in the dirt, right? Because we never printed smuggle cards again.
They do get left in the dirt, but they stick around longer. Like if smuggle exists and then dies, it's going to die. It's just going to die 2 sets later.
Correct. But my point is that correct. Their longevity in the overall game is significantly longer. They're relevant longer, right? So that when I pull,
right. I was just being a little bit pedantic.
No, that's fair. But I hear exactly what you're saying, right? So that yes, when we rotate the following year and those keywords are no longer in vogue anymore, those cards are still available in rotation. They still exist, but now they're not getting the new hotness that supports that keyword anymore. They've moved on to something else.
More playable. It'll make the decks playable longer.
Yes.
Right? Like they always talk about, like in all these articles, they talk about how they want players to have choices, to be able to build theme decks, to be able to do these things. But you handicap them almost immediately, set by set by set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like like Legends of the Force is going to be playable throughout all the sets because they're going to continue to occasionally print Force cards. Right?
Oh, you think so?
Well, there will be people with a Force trait.
There's not very many. But there'll be people with a Force trait, so that you can still plug in.
They won't reuse the Force token.
Right?
I don't
Underworld.
reuse the Force token.
It's a shame because I wish that they would.
Oh, that I don't.
I like that
I
mechanic.
couldn't tell you.
I wish they'd keep that around myself.
I think it's cool.
I do like it. I wish it would stick. But I think you're right. I think it'll go away.
So one of the things that I listen to people like Ian bitch about this, and I'm able to view it from the game maker side and the player side. And so I get what you're saying. I mean, you and the other people sound very similar. I get what you guys are saying, but from when I put on the game designer hat and think about it from that perspective, I understand their side of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it is not a lot, but there's when I listen to you guys gripe about this, so there's a portion of it of like, yeah, that would be nice, but that's not how this works. But I do think in our discussion here, we've actually landed on something that might be actionable that they could use to improve the game and make you people shut the hell up a little bit.
Well, and I would like to remind you, I would like to remind you guys that the movies are in trilogies. They're in 3s.
What?
My God!
That is crazy talk. That is crazy talk.
Crazy
We don't talk that way around here, sir. We don't use things like logic. That's crazy.
Logic, yeah.
That's crazy.
I'd love to see something like that where we actually get to see these keywords because I don't understand why hit, which isn't that great, gets to move forward, but other mechanics that I like get stuck in the sand.
It still requires more inter-team cooperation to do this. Now I'm thinking about it from the. Like, I feel like this discussion has landed on something that's actually, if you put on a game designer hat, you're like, huh, okay. Well, like before, it's you put on a game designer hat and you're like, no, that okay, deal with it. But this idea of you build a mechanic and then the next set has a few and the next set has a few and then it goes away. That's a lot more implementable if you put your game designer hat on. You can be like, all right, maybe we'll take that. But it does require a level of inter-design team cooperation that I don't think they have yet, but maybe they can aspire to get to.
I don't know.
Like this feels like an actionable thing. I don't think we're going to affect them to do this or implement them to do this.
No.
But griping about killing keywords is just kind of like a non-starter. But there's a way that like this idea that we've had here could be presented to them by somebody, and that person think, well, maybe let's think about it.
I'll be 100% honest. For my money, I would be less vocal about this if we didn't print leaders that I start on the board, that I build my entire deck around, that trigger off of a keyword, that function off keyword that we just never see again, right? And if you would take leader design and decouple it from the keyword in the current set, okay, then hey, I feel like you want to print a keyword in this one set and then never touch it again, fine. But if you're going to print leaders like Wedge and Chancellor and the new Palpatine that just came out and Lando and Hondo that work off of a keyword that only exists in one set, then I think for my money, I feel robbed when you drop it like a bad habit. Whereas
that operates under the assumption that leaders have to always be playable going forward, and the leaders should not necessarily be just a 1 year thing or a 2 year thing or a one set thing and go away. And that's not. I'm not going to argue right or wrong. I'm telling you that from a design perspective, they just approach that sometimes not all 18 leaders in every set are going to be viable going forward. They're willing to write a couple of them off to push the set to sell the keyword that they're dropping.
You're probably right.
That's a that they're never going to fix that, and that's never going to go away. Because they have the new keyword, they want to push it, they make a leader with it with the full intention that okay, it's going to go away. Deal with it.
I don't like it.
They make two spotlight decks. They sell 2 spotlight decks. Don't forget that part.
I don't like it. For starters, I agree with you, Trey. I don't think it's ever going to go away. But the gamer, the player in me is of the I reject your reality, right? I reject this argument out of hand because
is it not fair?
It's not fair. It's not fair, Trey. It's not fair. How can I phrase this without sounding like an idiot?
I mean, I understand your point pretty well. I don't know that you need to read your point unless you've got new information about it. I get it. I understand what you're saying.
It's not new information necessarily as it is a fandom thing, okay? And I am 100% guilty of this, all right? Everybody who enjoys Star Wars as a fan has characters that they like more than others. They have favorites. Everybody has favorites. Some people, they love the villains. Some people love the heroes. Whatever. Some people love the smugglers and the scoundrels. When you take somebody's favorite character and give it a leader card, immediately they're going to latch onto it. I got to play this. This is one of my favorite characters. They are desperate to find a way to make that guy work. But now you're telling me your statement earlier, not every leader is going to be viable. Not every leader is going to be supported forever. So
going forward.
Right. So as a fan of Star Wars, I don't want to hear that. Okay, now, as a game player and as someone who's a veteran of TCGs, I accept what you're saying, okay? But as a Star Wars fan, I reject it, and I don't want to hear that. I want my favorite characters, whatever they happen to be, to at least be viable on the table for more than the 4 months after they're first printed.
That would be a valid concern if it was all. That would be a valid argument if it was also coupled with the people that make the game saying we're never going to make another Lando because we already made Lando.
Agreed.
If you like Lando, there's other Landos you can play.
There's probably another one.
You can't rotate.
Well, right, and that's just it. There's gonna be other Landos. They've already printed like 7 Hans already, right? Well, we got like old Han and young Han and idiot Han. Like they're everywhere. Okay, so I accept that. I understand exactly what you're saying, but at any given moment, generally, with a few exceptions, there's only one version of a particular character that I can build my deck around. Right? There's a handful.
Disagrees.
Huh?
Han disagrees.
I said with a few exceptions.
Well, let me ask you this question. Can I ask you a question, Trey?
No.
You talked about how you are worried about the value, how the value of singles and the value of cards and the value of, the collectability of it.
Yeah.
If I want to play smuggle cards and they don't print any more smuggle cards, then the smuggle cards become pointless, right? But if we continue to build smuggle cards and those leaders continue to be playable, that means people want more of the smuggle cards.
Not really.
Therefore, the cards will go up in value.
No, that's not how that, because the smuggle card still exists. It's not like they stop working. You're just not going to build a smuggle deck. But there's going to be some other deck that exists. It's not like they're not playing anything. So something else will exist.
But what if that's the mechanic that I latched on to the best? And now that it goes away, I'm not really interested in playing anymore. Like that's what I
really
don't
happen.
love about. Well, I mean,
that doesn't actually really happen, and that doesn't happen in a high enough percentage of people to matter. And you're also discounting the people who hated Smuggle and didn't want to play because Smuggle was in the game. But now that Plot exists, they're I like Plot. That's a better way to do it. I'm going to pick up the game because Plot exists. Like that's all comes out in a wash. Like
he's not wrong.
You have to weigh both of them. I don't think that the discontinuing of leaders and keywords is affects singles and the commercial viability of the game.
I guess the added burden from, I guess the point I'm trying to make is the added burden of tying this game to a Star Wars IP comes with some additional baggage that I sometimes am not convinced FFG takes to heart. Sometimes I think they do, but sometimes I don't know that I'm not sure that they do. Like you look at a card and you're like, really? Are you serious right now? Like that kind of thing. So I don't know.
So I'm not going to argue with you, but I will point out that of all of the corporate entities that are pushing the Star Wars universe forward with stories and characters and media for us to consume, on the scale of who is not taking their job seriously enough, FFG is nowhere near the bottom.
Wrong. You're not wrong. I will cede the point. I will cede the point. I cannot argue against that. So, anyways. Well, guys, I feel like we've beat this topic to death, and we're getting to about the 90-minute mark. Why don't we wrap this up? Any final thoughts from either one of you?
I got nothing, man. I petered myself out talking about my disappointment with that, my mild disappointment with that article and how it produced just a tiny reaction in me.
Ian, anything from you?
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing some more art.
I am too. The art stream today was really good. The art that came out that they showcased out of this new set, like it feels like, I know there was a lot of criticism of the art early on, particularly in set 1, but it feels like as the game has gone on, they've started to really get their feet under them and find a tone, a style, let's say.
A style
for the art. And they're doing a really good job with it. I'm getting thumbs up from Trey.
No, I had another thing. Have you guys seen this judge thing? This judge league thing that they're doing?
No.
So it's in the judge Discord. This is only for judges, apprentice, level 1, level 2, level. I don't know how the levels go. I'm just an apprentice. But they have a new thing out it's like a league that is just for judges.
Ooh.
And so you go in to the special website. If you're in the judge at all, you can go to the judge Discord. If you're an apprentice, you can go to judge Discord and find this. You spend either $50 or $100, and you basically either get the promos, or you get the promos and the packs to start with. And basically you build a sealed pool. You get 4 packs of Secrets of Power and 4 packs of Secrets of Power Carbonite. And if you buy the $50 one, you get the promos, and then you supply your own packs. If you buy the $100 one, you get the promos and they send you the packs. But you build a sealed pool, and that is exclusively for playing against other judges.
Interesting.
And like you have to deface your cards to play this. Like you have to sign every card that you do, and every card that you play with. You're not allowed to play with a card in this tournament, in this format, until you physically sign that card. You have to write your name on that card, and you have to trade cards, either old school Magic anti-style, or just trade amongst your cards you're not playing with to make your deck better every time you play somebody. So you're a judge, I'm a judge, we meet at an event, and we sit down and play our judge league against each other. And now all my cards are signed Trey, your cards are signed Wes, and I'm like, oh, you have this card you're not playing, let's trade them. Well, now I get your card that says Wes, it goes into my pool. If I want to play that, I have to write Trey on it. So you're going to have this mingling of cards as they're trying to promote conversations and community within the judge pool. So it's kind of cool. Exciting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I ordered mine today.
I'll have to look into this. I am an apprentice judge. I've never gone any farther than that.
Well, yes, then jump. That's all you need to be. Jump on it, and we'll get some games in.
Okay, that'll be interesting to check that out. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, listen. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys listening to us. Throw us the like and the follow and thumbs up or whatever, depending on whatever format you listen to, for wherever you happen to listen to the podcast. If you are watching on YouTube or whatever, come leave us a comment. I know Ian and I both go in there and love interacting with folks in the comments. So come on in and chat with us, and let's hear what you guys think about 2026 and where we're headed with SWU. In the meantime, hope to see you guys at a future PQ or other event. Y'all have a great month. Be safe, and we will see you next time. Peace.